So good afternoon. I think everybody is now finished their lunch, so it will be much more attention will be given to this talk. So basically, my name is Dr. Ajay Kumar Dixit. I am from ITC Life Science and Technology Center, basically a chemist. And Soya Association was because of I have worked for some time for my company in this particular product. And we were working on trying to make first soya protein isolate, manufacturing facility. However, for various reasons, it was not gone. And what I observed during that 3 years stint with the soya bean, I would like to bring the chemistry angle to that. And although we will talk about people should get adapted to the flavor, I was in Taiwan and I saw people right from childhood till their death, they are eating, drinking, everything is related to soya. If you give them the milk, they are averse to it. Plus, obviously, because they are not tuned to it, they have a lactose intolerance predominantly, and they don't adapt to the milk. Here, the problem is, despite this problem of the lactose intolerance, their countries are trying to find alternative sources of the protein. Soya being a major one, they are trying and they are importing a lot of milk and milk products, and they are trying to adapt to the milk, and new generation is actually trying to get this. And our country, which is around 1.4 billion people, depending completely on the dairy, may not be a good advice. So we should start looking at how to introduce this we call golden bean. It is really a golden bean. You take the yellow color, gold color soya bean, take the golden oil from it, and still it remains gold, because the protein which comes out is also yellow. So you remove the gold, despite that it remains gold because of its protein content. We should look at what is the basic fundamental reason why people are not really accepting the way it should have been, because we are the 5th largest producer of the soya bean. So I will touch upon the sensorial aspect of it and what is the chemistry behind it. I think some people have talked about it. So we know the protein deficiency in India and we are struggling, and even the non-veg people are also not getting enough protein which is required and recommended. I would skip this for the interest of the time. And we know why the protein deficiency. People are not really interested, people are not aware. Affordability and accessibility is another thing, and wrong dietary choices are there. Plus, we have very heavy reliance on the staple grains, which is wheat and rice. So these are also probably provide some 10% or less than 10% of kind of protein. However, they are not a complete protein. Somebody talks about the quality of the protein. Yes, we see these kind of impacts in our country. Obviously, everyone is called thin fat Indian. An Indian which is thin also is actually a fat Indian, because he carries a loads of fat in his body in place of the muscle mass, contrary to European and American people. So this is the importance. I think before me, 10 speakers talks about the importance of the soybean. And as I said, after you take the gold called soybean bean and you extract the oil, which is yellow color, so gold is taken out, still it remains the gold. So we should give this kind of bean a very high importance and try to manage this problem of non-acceptance. If you look at, somebody talked about, Mr. Gupta has talked about around, soya body, which is roughly 50% of the total or more than 50% of the total soya bean which is consumed by the human being. And whatever quantity of the soya bean meal we produce, only less than 5% is converted into a human consumption kind of protein. So you see more than 50 to 60% is soya body, which is called chunks, and different names are given. And this is the major product. But however, this is also not very, very highly acceptable product. A lot of masala goes, that's why probably people are able to entertain it. And if you see some other side, there are few new product, I will say kind of experimentation is going on. If you look at soya sticks from Haldiram as well as Balaji, they have got around less than 10% of the soya flour, so which is around 5% of the protein in the total 100% of the product. So it's a very, very pygmy or small amount of the soya flour is being used. So what is the fundamental reason of non-acceptance? So if you look at the, soya bean, there is a associated, problem of flavor. It has a grainy, greeny, beany, and chalky flavor. And sometimes if a little excess soybean oil is there, then rancidity becomes another angle to it. And therefore, Indians probably are not adapted, because even if you look at the chana, which is a basin for us, does not have this much of. That also gives you very, very mild grainy flavor or beany flavor, but it is not that prominent. And these are the basic reasons it is not acceptable to the Indian masses. Somehow they don't like it. Somebody told that if you talk about the texturized product, Madam has talked about, Madam Sridevi, Dr. Sridevi has talked about, that anybody comes, industrial person comes, he says, other than soya, you suggest something, we will try to work it out. So that is very true, because I myself know many of the people who are in the product development, they say, I don't want to use soya, but you tell me anything else, I will try. But actually, this has got a 9 amino acid, and no vegetarian protein has got this much advantage. We should be able to overcome the flavor issue. And if you look at the chemistry of it, soybean oil, which is there in the seed, it remains in a very small quantity, even if you process it to highest purity level, which is SPI, soya protein isolate. Now, because of this is already converted into some kind of degradation products, using the lipases and lipoxygenases, I am just projecting some predominant aldehydes which are responsible for the beany, grainy, greeny flavor. And these 8, hexanol, heptanol, octanol, nonanol, 2 nonanol, and many others, if you look at them, so these are the different aldehydes, and odor threshold for these compounds is as low as ppt, means parts per, not billion, parts per trillion level human nose or human olfaction can detect them. And that gives the very negative feedback to our brain, because we are not accustomed to this particular flavor, not adapted it so far, and because of that, we don't want to try again. We buy one time out of excitement of the protein, but next time I don't want to try. I will go with my Haldiram mungfali masala or something like that, but I will not try soya sticks because of this kind of sensitivity. One of the compound is 2 ppb. Some of the compounds are 23 ppt level. They are detectable to our human nose. So what is the way out? I will say there is some progress has been made by IISR. They have done some varietal development. And one of the variety, which is NRC 142, 150, both the varieties are actually lipoxygenase 2 free. But lipoxygenase 2 free will bring it down. However, if you are going to go for a really good kind of soybean, which will give a good sensory, you may look forward to have completely lipoxygenase null kind of variety, where lipoxygenase 1, lipoxygenase 2, and lipoxygenase 3. Now, we are not a country, we are completely non-GMO. So morning somebody has suggested, I think the chief guest has suggested, there should be a kind of work where we will have to do probably genetic engineering in place of genetic manipulation, where you may be able to do this kind of target you can achieve. There was also discussion on the NRC 147, which is high oleic line, IISR, Indore. But you may be surprised to know when it is only 40% oleic acid is not going to help you. You have to have more than 70 to 75% of the oleic acid. Then only the PUFA level will go down and you will be able to have a better sensory. Otherwise, this will be like, work which is incomplete. In the international forum, if you look, there are GMO varieties of high oleic soybean lines. Pioneer has one Plenis, which was released in 2010. And Monsanto has Vestive Gold 2018 released variety, both are GMO, with the 80% of the oleic acid, high oleic line. And recently, with the coordination of 3-4 agencies, one university in 2021 released one more variety called Soya-Lick. This is a non-GMO high oleic line where the oleic acid content is more than 75%. So something like this is the work. Although if you look at the sensory assessment and addressing the problem of the soybean, multiple people talked about we can add some of the ingredients. There are strategies which are physical, treatment or interventions. There are strategies where you can bring in a lot of chemistry. However, these are the fundamental things. I understood that there are 83 varieties has been released by IISR. Now, if I ask, out of the 183 varieties, do we know one of the variety which is, Sarbati of the wheat, or I can say Basmati of the rice? Do we have? No. We don't have any assessment of those varieties. If we work on the KTI-free, the variety which is actually Sarbati of the soybean in the current context, probably that will give us a solution to us. Yield may be a very important parameter for all of us. However, I believe if you want to make it a mass food product, you may have to work, you may have to first hunt for a variety which is most tastiest. If you hunt, I understood 183 varieties are released. Do we have a sensory profile of those varieties? Number two, processing, another aspect. Fortunately, unfortunately, we are being a 5th largest producer of the soybean. We don't have a serious processing industry around soybean. Very recently, I think 4, 5 years back, the Civ Agro in Kota has launched one line where they are selling some soya protein isolate. Otherwise, in my knowledge and to me, I don't know anybody makes soya protein isolate, which is the purest form of soybean. So what I'm trying to bring is probably seriousness at the part of industry and the support from the government, encouragement, kind of subsidized loan, etc. is requirement of the day if you want to really exploit and create an alternative source of protein for the Indian masses. And that awareness cannot be done only by industry, cannot be done by some associations. It is a combined effort, including the government, should be there. These are the few thoughts on which I would like to close my talk, that this is how we can handle and we can progress on this particular aspect. Thank you so much. Thank you.